What's up, guys? So I just got done watching another State of the Game live stream. We've got a bunch of information to get through, so let's get right into it. Starting with the most important, Title Update 3 will be coming next week. They didn't give the exact date, but I'm going to venture to guess it's going to be coming during the regular maintenance hours. They said the raid will be coming shortly after. I think it was going to be in the same week, so just stay tuned to all the Twitter and stuff like that for when that's going to be dropping exactly, but they didn't want to do it the same day as Title Update 3, just in case you needed to prepare more. With that, PTS will be shutting down tomorrow during the regular maintenance, so they no longer need it. They got all the information they needed out of it this time around, so we won't be seeing any more of that. Australian matchmaking has been reverted to the old method of waiting to get an Australian connection rather than bouncing you to China or America to try to get faster matchmaking. They're going to prioritize latency and ping over anything else, so I hope that's a quality of life improvement for you guys down there. So I'm going to be going over a bunch of patch note stuff here. Some of it's going to sound like repeat information, but in reality it's them solidifying what they've said and little tweaks and changes here and there. So let's jump into that. I will post the actual patch notes in the description as soon as we get those. So, commendations. Some have been removed, some have been added. They had to do with consecutive days played, the ones that had been removed. They felt that it was unfair for certain players that could not play enough. So they've been switched out in lieu of new commendations that have cumulative hours played. Other things and stuff like that. Should probably mention, if you've already gotten one of those commendations, it will not be removed from you, and the newer ones that have to do with cumulative time will be retroactive as well, from what they said. Crafting materials of the gray variety have been increased by 200, so the cap is now going to be bumped up there. Crafted exotics using upgrade blueprints will now always drop at the maximum gear score. Blue attributes have been buffed on your armor, so you'll be seeing a lot more of the health and armor, and they'll actually be doubling the values of them as well. Some of the gear sets have been buffed a little bit. Hardwired now grants skill damage instead of shock damage. Ongoing Directive now gives you the special ammo on any kill and in any weapon, so it could be in your current weapon as well. True Patriot will be going down from 4 seconds to 2 seconds on the rotation of the buffs, and the increased damage to full flag is up to 15%. They changed some stuff to loot here, so it's a little different. They improved the quality and quantity of the helicopter drone loot. Clan caches have been reduced in quality. Increased ammunition drop. So for higher difficulty things like heroics and challengings, those are all going to be a higher level of ammunition drops for you. Whatever you're lower on ammunition and stuff like that, you won't have to feel like you have to leave quite as much. They still want you to feel like you do a little bit, but it'll definitely be a quality of life improvement there. Dark Zone contaminated loot guarantees 500 gear score now if you are already at 500 gear score. It will no longer drop below your average. This is also for heroic missions, control point level 4s, stronghold bosses, and bounty bosses. These will also guarantee 500 gear score items if you are already 500 gear score. If you don't want to do any of that, log on and do your daily missions. The hard and the challenging will both be rewarding 500 gear items if you are already 500. This is going to reduce the chances of items dropping lower than your gear score across the board as well, so not just in those activities, they'll be having much better loot drop across the board. The bank headquarters and Roosevelt Island have been reduced in difficulty for solo players. The auxiliary batteries, obviously we talked about those before, are coming in Title Update 3. Recalibration no longer changes gear score, and you get a recalibration score up to 100 at the max. The melee damage of all NPCs have been reduced, but the heavy enemies, the tank ones, have been reduced even further. This one I'm really excited about. Decreased accuracy of thrower NPCs. They are no longer Major League pitchers. This one was kind of strange. Civilian control point officers now wear pants. I don't know what that means. I didn't know that they weren't wearing pants before, but that's kind of funny. Hostages are now more protective of their own lives, so that's pretty good. Upgrading a settlement now increases civilian damage, so you'll be seeing your friendly takeover squads doing a little bit more damage there. For control points as well, it is now more clearly communicated what the difficulty levels are. It will actually be saying the words, whether it be normal, hard, challenging, or heroic, and you will now be able to be revived by the control point officers, so that's pretty sweet. In addition to that, you can now fast travel to all friendly takeovers and convoys. You will no longer have to respawn at a safe house and then run the whole way back. You'll be able to respawn and immediately fast travel back to that place that you were at before. No more running around and stuff like that. Your weekly settlement projects now always give you a blueprint. They ended up tweaking a bunch of skills. The assault drone now more actively seeks targets after it's killed somebody. The defender drone now drains more quickly once it's been shot once. That's for both PvE and PvP. The reinforcer chem launcher no longer stacks with its little plumes. The revive time has been slightly increased but is now more reliable for the reviver hive. The pulse has been reduced to a 90-second cooldown as opposed to a 120. There are also 3 pages of talent patch notes that they didn't want to go into full details about. Those will be in the patch notes that I'll link down in the description as well. Maybe I'll even do a whole video about those. We'll just have to see. All exotics are having their damage increased. So across the board, all of them, the Liberty, the Pestilence, everything has been increased, except I think the Nemesis was named as something that has not been increased in damage, which makes perfect sense to me. Conflict has had a bunch of overhauls, normalization, scaling, modifiers have been tweaked, skills have been tweaked. Assault rifles now have a 1.25% modifier in PvP, so that'll change things up a little bit. Dark Zone stuff again, bosses now guarantee a contaminated drop, and contaminated loot across the board just drops more often, so they're trying to make it easier to get that 500 gear score. Your maximum bag size in the Dark Zone is now 10. There's fewer brackets and all that kind of stuff for the Dark Zone, so your matchmaking will be much quicker. Your XP loss in the ODZ is much better than it used to be, and a huge improvement for console players, though it does affect PC a little bit too. The texture streaming has been vastly improved in Title Update 3, so those instances of your worlds not spawning in completely and falling through the map and crap like that shouldn't happen nearly as much. That is all the information that they went over for these patch notes. I know that was all over the place, but I did that in chronological order, the way they did it on the stream, because I just transcribed it as they typed. Some really good stuff coming here. I'm really excited to start making videos on a more consistent basis again. The last couple days have been kind of hard with the Division. It's not had a lot of content, but with Title Update 3, you'll be free to make as many builds as you want to and not feel like your stuff is just going to get uprooted, because it should stay this way for a good portion of the time. So, I hope that helped you out, guys. Leave me a comment underneath this video about how you feel about all these changes. Like this video, it really does help me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel for future Division 2 content. With that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.